All right, welcome everybody, and let's just do a quick review. It's Tuesday, it's June 4th, and we had a couple exciting earnings coming out. First and foremost, CrowdStrike will be in the news. Really crazy move in the pre-market, extended hours market. It traded all the way to 275 and then soared back up. They beat, when the news came, they beat top line, bottom line. They also were giving a questionable forward guidance, and that's what caused the stock to go down. I mean, in lickety split fashion at 275, and then it just soared right back up to 318. Now, we weren't quite sure about CrowdStrike in the trading room today, but what we did see was something on Hewlett Packard Enterprises. This morning we posted this in the room at 10:53. They missed last quarter with tough comparisons, but I think they were going to have, and as I stated here, I said they could have a beat, and I was looking for them to have a beat, and I saw an opportunity for an 18-21 bull call spread that's buying the 18, selling the 21 strikes. So it's what we would call a 3 wide or a $3 wide spread for the June 7th expiration this Friday, with the unemployment report is released. I'm just looking around trading this thing for around 75 cents. We had someone else try to do the same trade. It looks like 1.5 thousand volume. Open interest was 3.7. So it doesn't, it didn't stand out as an unusual volume activity, because if it was something like 3,000 shares on 200 open interest, that would be something unreal. And I'll show you what is something similar of an unreal in just a second. But anyway, we were going, also noticing that someone was going all the way out to the June 21st on the 20 strike calls. And that one traded 2,400 volume on 47,000 open interest. Seems like someone was building a bigger net long position in HPE. So that trade will come in. Let's double check HPE after hours right now. You can see it's trading on the bid 1968. So that trade's going to come in well, as long as the market stays up here in the after hours for tomorrow morning's option open, right? Dollar Tree earnings were coming out. The stock's gotten hit hard. I like the June 21st. I was going out to the June 21st as a broken wing butterfly for $1.95, no more than $2. The bad news with that particular strategy is it would have a max profit of $4.97. So you're buying some for $2 to make $5. That's the max profit. So if you pay $2 for it, you would get at max profit almost $700. So your net profit would be $500. Not crazy. Usually I like to do something with a bigger, wider profit to risk reward ratio, but we'll go over that in just a second. One of the things that I did notice right before the close, right at around 340, I posted this in the room. Huge volume, huge meaning AMD, 62,000 at that time on volume on 11,000 open interest on AMD. What made that interesting is and I'll just go over to this page, and let me go over to find AMD. It should be right here. What makes that so interesting? It's a 60 minutes. So let me go back over to AMD over here real quick, and we should have AMD right there. Look at the volume today, 47 million today, where the 10-day average is 58 million. I don't know if you see these two columns. This is today's volume. That's the average volume in the last 10 days. So there was more volume in a single strike price put option that expires this Friday, June 7th, than there was traded in the whole underlying stock. So usually a market maker, so that may be someone day traded them, possibly, or someone built a big position. We'll have to watch that open interest tomorrow. So that's AMD. So maybe someone's got a big position on AMD and already built a big position and they're taking some protection, or they're looking for more downside in AMD, period. And it's a pure directional short-term play, looking for downside action between now and Friday's expiration. Something to contend with as we get into Wednesday's trade. Now, running my scans in the after hours, a couple of bullish signals that we're going to cover in the live trading room, and that's why I did that at 4:39 for this YouTube video for you guys. In the Bitcoin mining sector, WULF and Coinbase, Square, and another one that we'll probably be looking to cover, ServiceNow. Why? Well, let's take a look. WULF. The volume on a monthly basis is pretty spectacular. There's the monthly volume. The near term weekly is it just started to populate, and if it closes above the open this week, it's going to generate a PPS buy signal. This looks like a compression wedge pattern. If it breaks out, it's extending up to maybe 350. Here's the daily chart. And this is why I ran this scan, because we generated a big pop of positive change going with the trend direction over a pivot point on increased volume. So that is something to see. Okay, maybe it opens and flops. It's $2.50 stock. It was at 205, so it's, you know, percentage wise up 20%, but it's been as high as $3 in recent history. And with the space going up, Coinbase, Bitcoin, that is, their news, it might be a little bit old. I think their news is that they mined a bunch of crypto, Bitcoin, 169 or 189 crypto Bitcoins in the month, and they released that news. So that shot the stock up. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to capture the attention of other investors down the road. So something to watch for Wednesday session. This is Coinbase. Coinbase, you know, again, if the SEC allows an Ethereum play ETF, they may be benefiting from not just the whole Bitcoin popularity with ETFs, but also as well as Ethereum and other names in the space. We did generate a daily, that's the orange candle. It's a high closed doji, and that arrow there is a PPS buy signal. Volume was fairly light, but something to watch for Coinbase. And if it gets back into what looks like to be a 7 day trading range here, we'll probably look to buy a pullback. We can define our risk under 219.34, and our upside profit, at least upside, should test these highs, 261, if not a little bit higher, maybe around 270. So that's in the crypto phase. And then finally, ServiceNow, NOW. ServiceNow generated, again, it had I think a sympathy crash last week in response to Zscaler's moves, in response to pretty much a lot of technology software applications. Salesforce just absolutely imploded, right? And also Mongo DD had a really horrific market debacle. We'll look at that in a second. But ServiceNow has a kind of an interesting volume pattern, not just on a daily basis, but someone's starting to buy this on a 60-minute basis. So you might get, if you open a little bit lower, I think we can define our risk somewhere under 649. There's the gap ahead that would more likely get filled. Volume was a little light. That's why we're going to watch it for tomorrow. That's what this says. We're going to look at it and see what happens tomorrow. See if we can get some intraday buy signals. And I'm just throwing that out to you. Let's take a look at a couple of the scans that we see trilogy buys coming in for tomorrow. So again, I ran these scans right here. You can see wrong scan I wanted to show you. I'm sorry. This is the high closed doji, the daily high closed doji. I ran that scan at 425 on Tuesday afternoon. So this is where ServiceNow came up with that little buy signal there. How accurate a high closed dojis. I wrote a book about it 20 years ago. It's a phenomenal signal that tells us when to buy, where the stop goes, and how many days you should see between the next, say, 8 to 10 bars, a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio profit target. And this should see some upside. That's why we want to watch to see what the volume is after the first hour of trading tomorrow. You have International Game Technologies with another a huge buy signal. And this is the kind of market that right now that we seem to be getting a lot of chop and flop. This is gaming and leisure properties, another buy setup. Volume was fairly benign. I'd want to watch that a little bit closer at resistance and to see how it responds to like the whole sector, so to speak. But I think that overall, the one that we want to watch is probably ServiceNow. Let's take a look at CRM, and then I'll just share with you the debacle that CRM had. You know, they beat earnings, and it's funny because CrowdStrike beat top and bottom line, gave weaker guidance. CrowdStrike now trading at 326 after an extended hour debacle to 275. So the extended hours and the way the market's been moving lately on really thin volume, it's not just a stock pickers market. It's almost like a finicky market, how market makers and hedge funds are trading these things. I'm not saying complete manipulation, but because there's so much, maybe there's less liquidity in the market, less money being played in the stock market because a lot of it's parked on the sidelines. It makes it easier to move stocks around. And CrowdStrike going down in the extended hours that much and then only to rebound. I would imagine when you see Salesforce, double check here, CRM. When you look at Salesforce, kind of had the same flavor. We just haven't gotten the 60-minute, and that's what I would be waiting for to see if that 60-minute really populates. And you should probably come back up and fill the gap. So what does this mean is that you probably could see the market pull back to 223 in Salesforce and then watch for the upside as it kind of challenges that low. We had a sell signal in AMD today, and maybe that's what that whole put option trade is about. Someone's nervous about the near term. And that with the volume indicator showing some relative light weakness, a sell signal closes below prior lows. Look at the volume on the monthly, or excuse me, the weekly. Here's a monthly over here. It may try to retest the lows again, last month's lows, maybe the 40, maybe 36 before we post or find some kind of a bottom in there. That was a huge volume. I think you need to pay close attention to that. And a lot of people are making a big deal again, as it is a big deal, but NVIDIA. And with the June 10th split coming up, a lot of people are actively buying this. The problem that I have here is that the volume, the market's getting thrashed around a little bit. And I'm not warranting, or at least putting out a sell recommendation on NVIDIA. I'm not stupid, but I would say I'm certainly not buying it up in here. The market is very vulnerable and susceptible with zero volume, very light volume, loss of momentum of volume. 60-minute doesn't even support a new high in here. The volume indicator, as you can see, is the momentum of the volume nowhere near what it was, and the price is a little bit higher. That's what we call a bearish divergence. Even on balance volume shows the same kind of situation. So if the higher the market goes without volume, it's more susceptible for a down spurt. So don't be trapped. And again, I think the key element is in the markets right now is if you can't buy good value, don't get trapped in buying overvalue, because you may wait a very long time, or in the case of some really, really good names, find trouble in the market. This is Mongo DB, and this was the debacle. It just took investors to the woodshed. Now, what's interesting about this is that leading up to that debacle, it was selling off. The relative strength was weak way over here. The volume indicator was kind of choppy, but every time it rallied, it sold off. And every subsequent rally was, or at least in that debacle phase, as it was making lower highs and lower lows, the relative performance, or the PMC indicator, was weakening, and the volume structure wasn't holding up. And then all of a sudden, it just collapsed. Now, as we get near this low, it's trying to maybe post a little bit of a bottom in here. You're starting to see some volume come back into the trade. That may make sense, because if you like the stock at 370, then you're probably going to love it at 227. So that's what's been going on in this market. Just absolutely pillaging, and opportunities have been present in the market. But remember, there's opportunity for risk as well as opportunity for reward. And if you're on the wrong side of the trade, these are very unforgiving moves that you may have to wait a while, if ever you see that price come back. I mean, this stock was trading at 507. Today, by the way, I want to point, this one is another popular software, AppLove and APP, generated a sell signal in a sideways trading range, but based on characteristics of market making newer highs, relative strength weakening, volume trend moving lower, I would not be in a hurry to buy this stock until I saw relative strength performance improving with improving volume trends. So maybe we've got a little bit of more relative weakness coming in some of these technology names. And again, I will update you on some of the scans and the results of what we see coming in the market tomorrow night as well. So thanks for listening, and I hope that kind of helped you, give you an idea. Watch AMD, man. That was a big volume unusual option. That was specifically an unusual volume play on the downside. Thanks for listening. And if you like what you hear, give me a like, a little feedback. If you want something else covered, we can do that for you as well. We're back in the saddle with trying to update and help people that were asking for me to return to the YouTube videos to share with you the signals of the indicators that we've created, whether it's the person's pivots, the volume indicator, as well as the PMC. Most of everything I just shared with you here is on the radar screen, and the scans using my indicators on TradeStation. Everyone wants to know what happened to Thinkorswim. Nothing. It's right here. We use it every single day. Thinkorswim. You can see some of my favorite setups, looking at the SPY, the Qs, the Russell, Apple. We have this for this week. We're watching Apple, CrowdStrike, Dollar Tree, AMD, NVIDIA, Tesla, which is interesting. Watch this. When was the last time you saw Tesla almost without that hiccup there and that return there, almost in a $6 range over the last 7 trading days? Really thin. Something's getting ready to break. It's getting ready to break one way or another, and something will keep you posted as well. But watch Tesla getting ready for some kind of move in this as it contracts in a tight sideways range. Labu, we're looking at biotech from a seasonal perspective for the month of June. And then again, Microsoft as one of the heads of the 5 families that have a large cap weight effect to the S&P 500. So Thinkorswim's there, indicators are there. We still look at, again, the person's PPS indicator with buy and sells. And that's what we were looking at with AMD, how we came upon a relative performance weakness and then started to look at the options as we saw this kind of shoulder head shoulder pattern and a PPS sell signal and some follow through weakness. And then I just said, well, let's take a look at these options. And that's where we uncovered some huge unusual volume activity and relative to its open interest in AMD for the June 7th expiration. Thanks for listening. And again, if you like what you hear or you want to hear more, just post a comment in the box below. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you on the next YouTube update. Should be out Wednesday night.